Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good to have you here. What are we doing today? Well, it's always interesting when I see a video that has a doctor, a professional, a home cooking channel personality, or the modern day feminista explain what a man should be and the benefits of modern day feminism for a man and how he can be a softer, kinder, gentler version, a neutered version of himself. I take umbrage with this. So does my guest, Mike. You may have watched the Matt and Mike show in the morning. Well, Mike is going to start joining me on the recorded shows, which I think will be fantastic. Olivia will be joining us next week if she can talk. It's exciting. 15 seconds. We'll be back, and we'll dive into this topic today.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more f***ed up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends.
Welcome again to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Matt and Mike in the morning. That's Mike.
And right that is Matt.
That is
right
Matt.
Over there.
If you get confused, the logo's on the right side. Before we get started, my nephew, who is very important to me, just needs your prayers. And I'm not a godly man. So put your hands together and say a little prayer for R3, Randy Jr. He is a very important person to me, and he needs your prayers today. We won't get into the specifics. That's not my story to tell. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Mike, welcome to the show.
How are you doing? I mean, it's a new experience for me, so I'm glad to be doing this.
It's kind of like when you lost your virginity. I mean, this is, I don't know if it's that important, but it's probably somewhere up there.
Slightly different, but on the same vein.
Right. And you've got that smile, like I just pumped the neighbor's dog look on your face. So that's probably.
We're not in West Virginia.
That's right.
That's not how this works.
That's right. We made a list. We'll get to the list.
Yes, we'll do the list after.
We were sitting around trying to find a topic for the show, and it came down to, do we want to do the politics? Do we want to kind of introduce Mike? And I think that's the easiest thing, is to do something that we're both comfortable with, which is talking about what makes a man a man.
A man. But that's so fluid now.
Oh,
what is a man?
What is a man? Can we even define him? I know we can't define women. Can we define what a man truly
I don't know.
is?
Do you identify as a man today?
I did until I saw this video, and now I'm questioning myself. This lady was on a show that was, I think his name is, what is it, Seth Myers or Seth something?
Yeah, it's Seth something. I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah. He's a guy.
He's an infinitesimal little rodent who I don't have any respect for. We're going to watch the video, and there's one thing just glaring that I took away from this. We'll see what Mike took away from it. The cringe-worthiness is high on this video. Enjoy.
How can men, again, you've gone through this so many times, but how are men most helpful as allies in a time like this?
Well, I think it's even more helpful to realize
Mike, have you ever had an anger ally? just somebody who helps you just get all your feelings and your non-joy feelings back in check?
No, I don't have a emotional support ally that can just be right here on my shoulder. I'm like, nope, this is what you need to be doing. This is the correct way to feel and what to do. I don't have
It's
that
called
guy.
Whiskey, isn't it? I mean, isn't that what they did in WW2? We just drink incessantly until you black out and you can no longer feel things. We're going to put her back on. I'm sorry I had to interrupt, but here it is.
How can men, again, you've gone through this so many times, but how are men most helpful as allies in a time like this?
Well, I think it's even more helpful to realize men's stake in it, because actually, if you look at the cause of male deaths, speeding and violence, and you add them all up, the women's movement.
What about heart disease?
What about all the fast food and all the crap that we eat?
What about
all the
stress?
Oh, stress is not a thing.
What about
men
dealing?
are not allowed
What
to
about
have stress.
dealing with women, which takes an average of 13 to 15 years off of our life? What about having to shoulder the responsibility of the bills and being the provider and security? And what about being blamed for everything that goes wrong in the
You're
household?
totally off base on all that. You obviously don't know men,
right.
So we need to be told.
Fair enough. I appreciate it. So the leading cause of death is violence and speeding.
Yes.
For men. Little did I know. I had no clue. Interesting.
And the dissolution of gender roles means that you would have about 5 more years of life to live. This is not bad.
Yeah.
Who else can make that offer?
I would love that. Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
So it's really simple, Mike. You become a feminist and you gain 5 years of life.
Apparently. I mean, I don't want that. I've treated my body horribly. I don't need any more years of my life.
What do you have to give up, though? I mean, do you have to castrate yourself? Do you have to neuter yourself? Do you have to become like Seth, whatever his name is, this late night talk show host? Because I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag. I asked Mike to write down a few things that he saw in this. It's not her that bothers me. In fact, she is just being a prototypical fourth wave feminist, which is a person who hates men. He is being an emasculated little automaton who can't stand up and disagree with this lady, but he has to be a male ally to her female. Why? Why do you have to be subservient to her thought? Mike, let's just get to it. What are some of the things that you heard in this that just make you go, what the?
So for me, it's the part when she's like, oh, the father needs to like be in the lives. It's like, okay, if you want the father to be around, well, first you have to figure out who is the breadwinner for the family. Whoever that spouse is going to have to make sacrifices. So guess what? A lot of times now, that parent, largely the man, but now it can be either or,
right?
They have to be away from the home making money.
Right.
And more often than not, you're not going to have an easy like little 9 to 5 or just working one job to make that happen.
Right.
You're going to be working overtime, multiple jobs. You're going to have to work night shift, weekends, where you're going to miss stuff.
Sure.
And although, yes, that's going to have effect on the kids, guess what? If you can't provide for the family, then whatever parent is at home can't raise the kids.
Right. Like it's a homemaker is a great thing, but if you don't have a home, well, then you're just a maker.
Exactly.
Of what?
And guess what? Raising those kids is a job in and of itself.
Sure it is.
But if you have no one providing for you and you're not living off of freaking the government cheese, someone has to do that, and you have to make sacrifices. Because guess what? Once you have kids, your life is no longer your own.
You sound like a sexist.
The only thing that matters is those kids. And how do you provide for them? You sacrifice. But apparently, men have done it wrong.
You're so toxic. Your masculinity is just like sitting next to you. Can I make the video even further to the right? I
just
can't
slowly slide away more.
I just can't get exit stage left. Let's listen to the rest of this. The part that he's talking about is
So
coming up.
getting to know your own children.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the system as it is means that frequently men are estranged from their children. And men get to be whole people by being active in the home and raising or being raised to raise children, just like we get to be whole people by being active outside the home.
So it's
What's this whole people
It's
thing?
not just your legs that make you not whole. It's that you don't have any kids, Mike. So
I'm not whole because I don't go out and do talk show hosts and all that. Like, I don't understand. Like, oh, you're a whole person. Like, yes, that is part of you, but why does that the only defining fact? Like, oh, you got to have kids, and I have to be in their life a certain percentage of time in order to make it a whole person. Like, what?
First, you want us not to go spread our seed, and now we have to spread our seed. I mean, this is the problem with feminism. We don't know what to do. We are so emotionally stunted because it's like, do we come and talk to you or do we not? If we give you a phone number, are you going to go ahead and call a date rape on us? I mean, what are we supposed to do as guys? Do we hold open the door? Do we not hold open the door? Do we say ma'am? Do we not say ma'am? Do we have sex indiscriminately with women so we can be a whole person, or do we not have sex indiscriminately with women so we cannot be a whole person? It's very confusing. This is more of the same. Just to be clear, the first and second wave of feminism, I'm a feminist. Burn your bra, equal pay, women in the workplace. Yes. But this third and fourth wave feminism, which has turned into you have to hate men to be a woman, is a bunch of crap. Here's more of it.
Right.
You started a couple magazines. You helped start a couple magazines. Do you feel like there's still a role? Because obviously it's a very scary time for print journalism.
This guy, does he have any? It's a very scary time for you. Do you need an emotional support animal? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say animal. Do you need an emotional support inanimate object? What the?
Jeez.
Is this guy, like, has he ever watched sports? Has he ever leaned up against a bar? Has he ever had sex with a woman?
Well, you can just tell this is so scripted that it's like, oh, let me pour out my passion to you on whatever you're about to say, and I'm going to vehemently agree.
My mammary glands are leaking. 1 second. My estrogen is flaming up. Have you ever watched this guy in live?
No, absolutely not.
You don't know his last name still?
No, I don't.
Is it Seth Myers?
I'd have to look it up. I don't know.
Don't look it up. It's okay.
Journalism, but for sort of vibrant journalism to bring attention to these issues, are you worried at all about the fact that there are less platforms for people, a young version, with less perspective? But somebody starting.
Did he just call her old?
He did.
Did you see his asshole pucker? I mean, like literally.
He just felt the cancel starting.
His career dissipation. He's like, oh my God.
I got to pack up. I got to bring a box, start loading in all my crap. I'll be out by the morning. Don't worry.
Not only am I a sexist, but my career is over.
Their career now, do you feel like there are enough ways for them to have the impact that you have?
Yes, because online, is huge,
Right.
and magazines are still very important. But what worries me more is the lack of fact checking. Mm-hmm. And I think the only way.
This whole the lack of fact checking. Well, who is doing all the fact checking? The last time I checked, half of the time, or I don't know the exact percentage, but most of the time that they're doing these fact checks, they're saying stuff it's false and it's not.
Right.
Or it's coming out 6 months later. It's like, oh, that was actually
due to
true.
Context or due to my filter, this
Yes.
is inaccurate.
Due to I don't believe this, even though science says that this is correct.
Right.
That this is wrong because feelings matter.
Right.
Fact checking is what we like. No, we need reporters to actually tell you the facts and not telling you how to feel and what to believe. Just give us real facts.
This is the problem with my truth, right?
Report accurately.
Like
That's
my
all I
truth.
want.
There's only truth. There's no my truth, your truth, her truth, his truth. It's true. It's either true or it's not. Why do you need to fact check? It's a fact or it's not a fact.
Yes.
And context very rarely changes facts, okay?
But feelings matter over your facts, so you need to get that straight.
I knew I heard that somewhere. Thank you for setting me
We're
straight.
going to get really accurate facts is to pay, as we do for
Accurate
newspapers
facts.
and
Facts are
magazines,
accurate.
at least.
Like honest truth.
Give me more money, and I will make sure this is correct.
It's like man loving lesbian. It's an oxymoron. Honest truth, accurate facts. These are one and the same. It's a derivative of the word, and what we do is we make these. She's woman-splaining truth, right? I mean, we get blamed all the time for mansplaining. Give me
A
a
little
break.
something.
Right.
Because advertising is always going to go to, the biggest number of eyeballs, which is how we got the president.
Yeah.
If there weren't advertising, he wouldn't have had that show that was like watching a roadside accident.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's very nice because the one thing about roadside accidents is they don't show commercials during them, which is.
You know what's funny? I think The Apprentice hired more female CEOs than there were female CEOs in the world at the time. Yet a feminist is bashing The Apprentice. Listen, I never watched the show. I don't know anything about it. But I do know that women were prominent at the table in the show. And that's something that wasn't around during that time. So she's not really a feminist. She's a lipstick feminist. She only is a feminist when she decides to apply the lipstick. It's like a lipstick lesbian. Not a real lesbian who has a butch haircut and drives a truck and has 3 vocal octaves lower than most guys. This is a lipstick feminist, and it's unfortunate that people like this get airtime, because if you asked her, please describe the strongest man you've ever met, this woman wouldn't be able to tell you, because she doesn't find the strength of men to be oculary. They are only her internal fantasy of what she is trying to make, which is a castrated, high estrogen, basically Seth Myers. That's what she wants. This is her perfect man.
What is Bruce Jenner's new name?
Caitlyn.
There you go. That's probably her idea of the strongest man.
And I have nothing bad to say about Caitlyn. I'll be honest with you. Caitlyn Jenner, from a kindness and overall acceptance standpoint, is more of a woman than this lady is. And that's hard for me to say, because transgender, you're either a man or a woman. But when it comes from a mental standpoint, Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, whatever, isn't a vindictive and evil person. Is just somebody who says what they feel, and that's fine. She believes not just saying what she feels, but you have to check off a certain box in order to be the right kind of man. And I think we're going to uncover that when we cover our list. Let's wrap this up.
Very nice. You have make this very interesting observation in the book that men have a issue with women in power because it brings them back to their childhood. Because often the
oh
last
my
time
God.
they saw
Seriously? Give me
a
a
woman of authority was in school when they were very.
Actually, I have a dominatrix that I nail every frickin' Friday night, and she puts me in my place all the time. So
I love they're like, oh, we got this problem. Like, no, I have a problem with someone who's being an idiot. I don't care what is between their legs.
exactly.
I want someone who knows how to lead, knows how to do the job, and can effectively do something, not someone who's put there because of their race or their gender.
Right.
I don't give a crap.
Doesn't it really depend on what's going on? Like let's say, for example, you're going to lead a fire team on an operation. Do you want a man or do you want a woman?
I want someone who's been in combat before who knows what the hell they're doing.
Perfect. You're going to play hockey. And somebody, you have an overtime situation. You need someone who's going to put up, put up top shelf right over the right pads. Is it man or a woman?
Again, it's whoever's been doing it longest, whoever's put in enough time,
Great.
and whoever has that skill set.
Reality, right?
Doesn't
Reality.
matter.
Now, if you want to have a baby, man or a woman.
See, that's a hard one.
See, that's the thing. Right.
How do we?
That's the reality. Is that you and I would be like, of course it's a woman, because
Like,
that
situation. Why do we have to say that?
Right. That's the point. Is that they are like, well, wait a second, that's not acceptable because men and women are equal. That's the way it's supposed to be. So therefore, childbirth is equal. What about testicular cancer? I don't mean to bring up a delicate subject, but what about testicular cancer? Oh, well, it depends. No, it doesn't, because the last time I checked, women don't have testicles, and neither does Seth Myers.
No, I think as long as we're all raised by women too.
And yeah, okay.
She didn't mean that. She didn't mean that.
You
She
only have to be raised by women. Like,
That's
yep,
what she meant.
We just want a bunch of single mothers because we know the statistics on how well that works out. For
We want an
everybody.
Amazon society where Wonder Woman was raised.
Yes.
Is that accurate? All right.
Apparently, yeah.
I guess so.
But women, we have, of course, a little self-correction because we realize we can do other things. But for men, I think really the last time they saw an authoritative woman, really an authority over them, they were a child. And they feel regressed when they see it. I mean, otherwise I can't explain why my grown-up male journalist friends say things like, I cross my legs whenever I see Hillary Clinton. What is that about?
Well, it's probably because you're a bitch.
Yeah, I don't understand why that would even be. Like that has never been a thought. Like, oh, I need to cross my legs because
Well,
there's some woman around.
There is
Like,
some pain in the nether region when I see Hillary Clinton, because it's almost like a shrinkage that's goes concave at the point. There is a little bit of pain, but certainly not because I want to throw and gird my loins in her direction. Are you kidding me?
The delusion that has been this entire interview is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is also why I don't watch whatever this guy's name is.
Well,
Seth, whatever.
Sure, but this is being consumed by people
Yes.
who are brainless automatons who simply consume anything that's on because they talk bad about Trump. But crossing my legs, you know what? If Hillary Clinton walked by, I'd cross my heart that she doesn't want to kill me. That's
I have no information on
Right.
anything the Clintons have done. I know nothing.
HRC, I'm with her. I'm with you. I certainly am. I'm not a Trumpy, I promise.
She reminds me of my wife outside Alamo. I mean, it's intelligent men say these crazy things.
Yeah.
That's because they don't want to die.
Intelligent.
That's right.
No, I'm not going there. We're all intelligent.
Do you, seeing this field of candidates, obviously it's a very diverse field right now. There's a lot of candidates. Are you,
I want
optimistic moving
her
forward? How do you
political
feel?
opinion as much as I want her opinion on what a man is. Here's what it comes down to. I can go ahead and invalidate most of what she said, but I've had many women of dominance in my life. My all, I play the bottom. So my wife definitely plays
That's
the top.
an image that I did not want.
So how about my teachers? Those are people outside of my mother who was dominant in my life. I've had female bosses. I've had female military members who were higher ranking than me. I worked side by side with IDF forces who were female. I constantly put myself in a position to have guests on my show or to have listeners who have an opinion and allow them to do that, not because they're women, but because it makes a good show. My wife has things to say. Hell, I let Mike say things too all the time.
And man, I was just thinking, is this truly it's a woman thing, or is this because people just have zero lack for authority, and now that there is more women in those positions, they're just seeing how that authority is gone across the board, and they think it's only directed at them?
I think men are afraid. I think men should be afraid. With movies like the Barbie movie where Ken is emasculated and looks like, just some Neanderthalic knuckle-dragging moron. Look at every talk show. Look at every commercial. Look at every sitcom. Can you name a sitcom that has a powerful, strong man in it and woman? And I hate to use Bill Cosby as a reference. But the Cosby Show is wonderful. Both doctors, both very intelligent. But can you think of a show where the man isn't a blithering idiot who couldn't, warm up a TV dinner, let alone find his ass with two hands? Men, it's not that feminism wanted equality. The feminists looked at male-dominant areas of life, which were pretty much everything, and said, I want equality. And that was the first and second wave. And then third wave said, well, I want more. And then the fourth wave said, I want it all.
Yep.
And that's where we're at now, where it's interesting that everyone was subjected to this woe is me bullshit. It was the best of times, worst of times, that men were completely 100% dominant. Well, now women, you have women being considered for CEOs over men. You have this illusion of a supposed pay gap, the pink tax, all this stuff where you have to write laws specifically for women, but not the same for men. I'm not saying that men have it worse off. I believe we deserve a little bit of, playing from behind, so to speak. But to literally just change positions where men are now degenerates and stupid, and they need to somehow change their makeup and who they are in order to satisfy a woman's own insecurities is ridiculous. We've got lists. I think we should get to them.
Yeah, we can get to the list.
We got 5 things that make us, and we're going to play a little game here. It's the 5 things that make us men, just us as individuals, because that's what this is about. You can't bottle up the entire psyche of a man in a talk show interview or on this show, and for her to try to categorize what men should be and it's somehow all encompassing is sexism in itself. Give me your number one. What was your number one thing? And if you have it on your list, when I say it, you got to cross it off and tell me why. Okay, go.
All right. So my number one is have a purpose.
Have a purpose.
Yes. And what I mean by that is you have to have something that drives you, something that you can get up and you're like, I have a, like, how do we really say
No,
this?
you just crushed it.
Like, you need that thing that's like, this is who I am, this is what I do, so you have a reason to get up every morning.
Perfect. There was a really, Ben Shapiro did a great segment today, and I'm going to send it to you. I just watched it this morning, where he talks about personal choice. And he says where this new generation of people have decided that somebody needs to bestow upon them a reason to get up. And instead of saying that it's a responsibility of your job or your lover or your mom or dad, that needs to be inherent in you, that some people have that get up and drive or that passion or that overall energy more than others. And Ben Shapiro's like, that's BS, is that you have a choice. If you want to work out, you make a conscious choice not to work out. And if you want to go to work, you make a conscious choice to go or not go. There is no predetermined cell in your body that decides if you're going to be a passionate, driven person with purpose. It comes down to you making a choice. This generation and the modern day feminism is, well, that person was born this way. No, they weren't.
And my choice every day is like, oh, let me just scroll TikTok. That's what we're doing.
Right. Versus getting up and doing. Okay, so I like that purpose. My first one, I feel little sports. Not as deep, but I love getting up and checking the sports and seeing the goals scored and where the standings are, and it's a big part of my life. My wife and I connect through it, and we love sports. All right, so let's see if I can get a little deeper on the next one.
Do you want to do your next one?
I have to. I really, because I'm failing. Food. That Listen, I consider myself to be an intellectual, but I am failing this exercise. I take it food wasn't on your list.
Food is not on my list.
Dude, like a good steak and potato with sour cream. No? Shit. Okay, so that's gone. All right, you to the next one.
All right.
I have a feeling I'm not going to have anything on your list.
Our lists are going to be complete opposite. So my number 2 is strong. And there's 2 like subcategories to this one.
Oh, see, I think you did the second list first.
I didn't, because I have a complete second list.
Shit. All right, so strong.
What
Strength.
I mean by this is both physically and mentally. Because obviously you need the physical strength, just because there's certain things that you got to be that protector, go out and actually be able to move things or build things, all the things that like you need strength to do. But to me, it's as or more important is that mental strength. Because if you don't know who you are, or you are not right in the mind, or you have like a wandering mind, like if your mind is not right, then what you are as a man, like you're not going to know how to be a man or what to do.
Yeah.
You need to have that mental clarity to know like, okay, this is what I am. This is how I operate. This is whatever my morals are, and have that clarity so you can actually be you and not be on whatever pills or whatever crap that they're trying to give you to be some altered state. You have to understand
that
you.
sounds like food to me. I think
It's totally food. It is that.
Jeez.
I'm a sirloin fan. I know someone else is going to say like a tenderloin or whatever like that. You got to have your sirloin.
Just forget it.
That's your sirloin.
Thanks for trying to throw me at the proverbial ham bone, but that was a big failure. A couple things come to mind when you say that quickly, because I obviously can't get intellectual with my answer, so I'm just going to go ahead and prey on yours. Is when you look at compartmentalization, you ask any special operator, and they will tell you through any exercise, even if you're going through the crucible, even if you're in Navy boot camp for your 6 weeks, perspective is reality. And what you go through ultimately is just as difficult for your current situation as it is for somebody else. But there's levels of difficulty that obviously are going to change your physical aptitude, everything else. But in order to get through these programs, you've got to have healthy body, healthy mind. Sigmund Freud said that. He's like, if you look at somebody and their kitchen's a mess and their car's a mess and their bedroom's a mess, it's reflective of what's going on in their brain, which is why the military makes you polish everything and shine everything, get a haircut and make it look perfect, is because a clean and stable and dedicated, disciplined outward surrounding will also reflect in your mind. So it's a good point. 3 is, for me, the show. This show is, to me, this show stabilizes me. It allows me to talk about things that I normally wouldn't. Have conversations, camaraderie with you, for example, my family, my friends, whether it be Amy or Leroy, who's across state lines.
So what is that, though?
What do you mean? This show?
This show, what is that?
It's the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
Yes, but it's your purpose. It's
right.
It's number one. Like that's,
sure. I mean, we can. Listen, I'm not saying that these answers aren't myopic, because they completely are. I think the second phase of this process, these were more about my personal things that I need to get up every single day. You decided just to like be Euripides and Voltaire, not me. What's your fourth or third?
So for me, it's my partner and what our like togetherness is. And as we were talking earlier, like for my wife and I, like it's Harry Potter. Like that's where we can connect. That's where it's like if we ever don't know what to do, or if we always want to go to like hey, you know what? I hate my job. I hate what we're doing. Let's just go work at Harry Potter. Like that's our thing that we have, that is our strongest bond. But for me, it's also as a man, you have to, once you have your purpose, once you are mentally strong, once you are physically strong, having that partner is what's going to help keep you in check in being a man, but also allowing you to do all those and keeping that purpose. Like that, like it brings it all together. And although I wasn't there when I met my wife got me there and is getting me there.
Wait, I wasn't there when I met my wife.
So mentally.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Wasn't there.
Okay. I get it. Sorry. I was just like, we're having an out of body. Were you
Where are we going with it?
Were you using a pensive? Were you with Dumbledore and reflecting on memories?
Yes.
This is very confusing. This is one where we actually kind of cross streams, so to speak, cross sabers, sword fighting. But I took it a step further. Yes, obviously, family, and more importantly, surrounded by family. But then on the other end of that, I need my alone time within that too. I need to be able to get away from my family. Like there's times where I want to play Diablo or play a 4-player game with the family. And there's other times where I want them to completely exfil and get the hell out of my private space.
You need to leave.
You
Right.
got to have that time that's alone. All right. Number 5.
What's your number 5?
Working out. Like that's purpose too. I mean, if you look at all of these, they really are purposeful. I mean, you've got, and this is what we uncovered, I think, and your answer will show this, is that everybody's list is going to be different. That's why this lady's so full of shit, is there's nothing that will make a man or a woman. It's the individual idiosyncrasies that define who we are, but our actions is really what defines if we're a man or a woman or anything else. And I think that's what we uncovered. Even though we're going to listen to Mike's number 5, I think there's another list that we had when we were building this where we said it's not the idiosyncrasy, it's the actual action that defines us. So what's your number 5, which doesn't matter anymore because I ruined it?
So my number 5 is loyalty. For me,
really good.
when I'm thinking about like a man and like
Which you do often.
all the time. I love thinking about men. I'm a Marine. That's crayons and men. Come on, it's raining men. This is how we do.
So good.
So when I think like if I'm ever in trouble, I know the people that I'm going to call, and I want that to be someone that I can trust and someone that I know has all these things that I've already listed that will be there for me. But I also want to be that person for someone else. I know for me, it's like when I got blown up, that took that away from me because I wasn't able to be there for my guys, that they weren't able to rely on me anymore, that I had to be protected. I had to be carried away because I couldn't physically do that anymore. So for me, a man is someone who you have that loyalty because you've built up all of that trust and you've shown them this is the person that I am. And this is what I can do for you, and you don't have to ask for it. You just know it's there.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a big. Once again, I think those made it onto my secondary list. But let's find out what they are. I'm going to give you my 5,
All right.
and then we can have an overall conversation. And you call it out. And go, nope, I got that one. Provide.
Yep.
You got that?
Yep.
Okay. Protect.
Yep.
Feel.
Don't have that one.
Okay. Strength.
Don't have that one.
And then a big one, rest.
I don't have that one.
So the reason those made my list, but we also have a lot of commonalities in those, is because to me, that's the cyclical event, right? You provide, you protect. And those, the 2 Ps are pretty much every man will have that on their list.
That was my 1 and 2.
Right. But feeling is, if you want to be a strong protector, good provider, you got to know what you're feeling. You got to be able to handle and process. And this certainly isn't my list. As a man, I probably would have said, I don't know, tough or, resolute or firm or whatever it is. But the feeling is what I've learned dealing with some of the trauma that I've had in my life, is that I've got to be able to feel what I'm doing and I got to reflect. The strength is then, when you start feeling those things, you got to have strength to handle it, to be able to process it, because those things can tear you down. And then lastly, rest, so you can get up and start protecting and providing again. Men forget to take a knee once in a while, not like Colin Kaepernick, but we don't take knees often enough. Yeah. So Mike, give me yours.
So my third one, which actually kind of rolls into the 2 that you had, mine's being grounded.
Oh, that's good.
So, I mean, for me, that's kind of like, yes, you're getting that rest, you're getting that mental reset, but for me, it's kind of the same for you, but like that's just a different way to say it.
I think it's just a different way of saying it. So it's close.
My 4th one is integrity.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Because again, it's one of those, if you don't have integrity, then what else do you have as a man? Like,
yeah.
That it's pretty simple.
Yeah, your word is something that didn't make the list and should have, for sure.
And my last one is love. And
there's that feeling, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, what I mean by that, like, yes, you need those feelings, but you have to be able to show and someone to feel that passion. And like, it doesn't have to be, I physically have to say that I love you.
Right.
Through my actions, you can tell that I care about you, and being able to show that, whether it's to a family member, a child, or you're just going into a room and people can just tell, you're like, you know what? This dude's an alpha, he's strong, but you can tell like he's going to be that protector and that one everyone leans onto if something bad happens. Like, you just have that presence, but you can also show that compassion.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. If kind of putting a bow on this, and then we'll wrap it up. And we usually do 1 minute after our live show, so we'll do the same thing here. It's a long one. We knew it was going to be, but that's okay. I think the context is important. I'm not telling women who they need to be. That lady can sit there and say all the things that she wants. The difference is that if you want true change and you want to impact change in others, they have to like you. And I learned that a long time ago. And you can sit here and say all the right things in all the right way, in all the right places, and hit every giggle button in somebody. But guess what? If they don't like you, they're not going to listen to you. And that lady is unlikable. And the reason why she's unlikable is because she's telling people what to do versus asking them and trying to uncover why men are like the way they are. Why are you speed demons? Why are you violent? Well, we're not. And not all of us love Trump, and not all of us eat red meat. And by these lists, not all of us are cut the same way. But there are some very basic core principles that make men men. And there are some very basic principles that make women women. And being a snobby elitist bitch, those aren't on the list. Go ahead, Mike.
For me, it's always one of those, like, when I see this video, where are you coming from that you are so perfect that you're going to tell me that I need to be this way?
Right.
What I would love, if you actually want to truly have this conversation, women come together, men come together, and call each other out and get each other on a good path. We're like, you know what? Here's our ideals. This is what we believe in. Now let's figure out how to blend it.
Yeah.
How do we get both of those to coexist and intermingle in a way that we don't have this crap like, oh, well, no, these women are being oppressed or these men are being, like, if we can stop all that shit. It's like, the one thing I think we're always missing is we have to check ourselves first. Like, let's start there. Yeah. Let's not start with this finger pointing of like, you're the issue. Well, no, maybe I'm the issue, but let me figure that out. Let me actually go get the help I need and get rid of these stigmatisms where it's like, oh, if I go do this, I'm weak. Like, well, maybe I need this so I can become a stronger man. So figure yourself out first before you start telling everyone else what they need to be and what they need to do.
Mike gets a trophy today. I think Mike outperformed. His list was much better than my list.
I was worried about my list. I was going to be honest.
Well, obviously, you did your homework. I missed food. Food
is I love food.
Food is good.
Hot dogs. That's where it's at.
So the last point, and then we'll go ahead and shove off, is if you enjoyed what you heard here today, you can find the recorded show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are also live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And
Absolutely.
Then in the morning, when?
10 a.m. I had to think about that for a second.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. You can find us on spreely.tv. And just to sum everything up, is we have a hell of a lot more in common than we have apart. And men and women are creatures of passion. We have a basic code that we all live by. Yep. We should try to respect it and understand that you're not responsible for controlling what people think, and you can never do that. And if you want to have positive interactions, maybe your intent should be positive, and you wouldn't have such a negative experience.
And I'll ask one thing.
Yeah.
In the comments, I want to hear your guys' 5.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Or girls.
This goes for both.
Sexist dick.
What makes you a man or a woman? And then tell us the 5 non-negotiables. Like,
But you actually have to be a man or a woman. You
can't. Don't do the other crap. Like, do your own. You are what you are. Let's hear your guys' 5.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the 5 too. It's a good point. Folks, go over to The Dumb Show at thedumbshow.com. You can pick up something nice for yourself, t-shirt, hats, whatever. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. We will see you tonight at 8 o'clock. God bless.
Have a good one.
Adjusting transmitter output. This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.